What we're going to be talking about today will be not just crime prevention through environmental design, which is also called CPTED, but we'll be talking about using that in conjunction with other countermeasures to make a really effective security program, whether you're dealing with K through 12 schools or post-secondary. Either of those apply. My background, I worked for a full career, 20 years in law enforcement, half of that with the municipal police department, the other half as a supervisor and administrator with State University Police at Cal State LA. After that, I had another 22 years working as a consultant with a variety of companies, including research done in workplace violence studies with UCLA. First of all, every campus is unique. Never feel that because I have done a one campus survey that the lessons I learned will apply to the other campuses. If you've done one campus survey, as the adage goes, you've done one campus survey. Because every campus will have different threats, different vulnerabilities, different risks. All of these things are going to be different. They have to be analyzed on their own to do an effective job. Secondly, risk is a constant. And that means that regardless of how well you do your job, through no fault of your own, bad things can happen. That's a picture of Sandy Hook, as you can probably all recognize. Now, Sandy Hook did a heck of a good job in setting up their security. But we learned things after the tragic event. And unfortunately, that's the way things will happen from time to time, is that your security plan cannot stay static because we keep learning new things. And we learn them by some of the worst people. Now, the one nice thing about post-secondary campuses, and I'm throwing this up, and there are some things that are changing in this area, is that shootings are rare. Colleges, universities, any of the post-secondary campuses are safe places. And it's good to know this as a beginning place. Now, does this mean that we stop planning, that we don't put out the countermeasures, that we don't have plans for dealing with an active shooter and so on? No, not at all. But it's good to know that from the start, the fatality, shootings that result in fatalities are relatively rare. Dealing with risk. Rule number one is that risk is both is real risk and perceived risk. Real risk is very simple. I'm worried about a guy coming onto the campus and shooting the place up. But as we said, the chances of that happening are fairly rare. Now, what about perceived risk? What's perceived risk? How about just, I'm afraid that that guy is going to come into my area and shoot the place up. You know, when the Umpqua shooting happened, did that raise the level of perceived threat to every educational institution, not just in this country, but in other countries? That's the way it works. See, news, by its definition, is something that's unique. If it happens every day, it goes on to page 36. Now, on college campuses, if you get concealed carry, there are some things that are good to know. Situational risks. What people are going to be prone to getting involved in this kind of a situation, because these are people that you need to become involved, that you need to know, whether it's K through 12 or otherwise. Anger management issue. If somebody has poor impulse control, they tend to act out. They get mad at things. They get angry before they stop and listen. These are folks that can be problematic. With weapons, one of the concerns that we have is that somebody that carries a concealed weapon can get what I guess could probably best be termed empowered stupidity. The kind of thing that can result in something like the Trayvon Martin shooting. There's something about having a gun where people feel, now I can deal directly when I see something going on. And that raises a very critical issue that if you do have it, people need to be trained that you use it only for defense. And if it comes out, basically you create a risk for first responders. Feel the environment. Apply these things to the interior and to the exterior, even the interior. You want to be able to see clearly into all areas. All of these things apply. In fact, if I'm in a school and I'm looking for places where bullying and intimidation go on, I mean, I can think of a number of places. One are bathrooms. The secret to the bathroom thing, I'll throw in these little things for you from time to time, is just have a little privacy screen, leave the doors open. Because when an administrator opens the door to check it, that's when everything gets flushed. But if they can just walk in and nobody notices, wow, it works effectively. Now, CPTED After Dark means we're going to talk a little bit about lighting. And lighting is very important to the nighttime environment. This is a school in Pasadena, California. They have a really nice fence that are on top. It's an 8-foot fence with 6-inch blunt cut top projections that make it very tough to climb. Nice school. That's daytime. That's the same school at night. Now, if I'm a bad guy and I'm somewhat athletic, I can get in there, I can cause problems, and there is nothing to deter. How do I get rid of that? Does it take a whole lot of lighting to be able to deter people? Well, I hope this is a new term, but what we like to go to, this is called facade lighting. The place that it works best at night, if you want to conserve, one thing is use LED lighting, and you have it to where it grazes or comes across the face of the buildings as they are seen from the street, and it makes the whole place look lived in, and you hardly use any electricity.